Welcome to this episode of my Women Empowerment Wednesday show. My name is Jessica DSB. Enjoy this episode.
Happy Wednesday! It's Women Empowerment Wednesday. Welcome to all of you. My name is Jessica. Who I am is a mom, a world passionate traveler, 2 times best international selling author, and I'm the founder of the Women Empowerment Wednesday show. I'm super excited to be with all of you today. If you're going to be watching live, please type live in the comments. If you're going to be watching replay, type replay. I want to know who's watching, who's with us in this conversation. I'm super excited about today's guest. Before I do introduce him, just a reminder, I do have my Women Empowerment Facebook group by Jessica DSB. Join the group. You'll have all the videos. I've been doing this show since April 1st. And what is this show about? So this is every Wednesday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have conversations with a special guest that are empowering, touching, inspiring. This is not only a conversation between me and this special guest. I want to create this as a community, as a movement. So I want you, all of you that are watching, to bring those conversations in the lives of the people that you care about. So let's do this together. Remember a quote that we've been talking about: we rise by lifting each other. So I'm inviting you all to do the same. So welcome to everybody that's watching. Our special guest, for today, Mr. Dom Amici. I'm not sure if I pronounced it right. I didn't ask you. I'm so sorry. This is, me being not perfect, by the way. So who is Dom? He's a health and wellness guru, 21 years as a personal trainer, Reiki master for 14 years. I can't wait for you to share more about that. Serial entrepreneur, investments, multiple business owner, and 3 online businesses, and VP of a nonprofit, and much more. I know the list is longer. So thank you for accepting the invitation. Welcome to the call.
Thank you for having me. It's Amici, but you were close, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce yours, so we're even.
So we're good.
Yes.
We're good. I love it. I'm sorry. I usually ask before the call, and I
not a worries.
So
I've been called. It's been pronounced many ways, but it's yes, Amici.
Amici. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Let's hear about more of who you are.
So, as Jessica covered, I've been in the health and wellness industry and a personal trainer for 21 years. I have a Bachelor of Science in Health and Wellness from Buffalo State College back in '97. And it was before it was even a word. I was the second class to graduate with a health and wellness degree. One could say that I have great vision, and I actually believe I do. It's part luck, part vision, part just working hard and being in the right places and being around the right people. And then from that, it spun into a nonprofit that we do free exercise and fitness classes for cancer survivors. So we've been doing that, for I'd say going on 18 years, which started as kind of just something that was passionate to my partner and I, because everybody has somebody in their family who's been affected by cancer. And we were asked by the cancer support community from the South Bay to come in and do a demonstration and talk a little bit about, why to work out health and fitness for their breast cancer survivors. So we actually got into really deep in with Susan G. Komen Foundation. We've got grants to them, which is a nonprofit for cancer survivors in the breast cancer space. So this whole women's empowerment movement that's been going on for a while now, and even looking up terms of what women's empowerment is, there really is no real one definition. So it can be whatever your definition is to everyone that's listening. but it's about, rising up each other. Like Jessica said, it's about, standing side by side. Nobody stands behind another one or in front of another one. Side by side, we rise each other up. So, that the list goes, I mean, it goes deep into, again, back to the Reiki master and the healing and the whole, just being open, just really being open-minded to something different, another way of looking at the same thing. And most people, they get stuck on one way at looking at things. And there's so many different variations and ways to look at it, but coming together as one.
Love it. Love it. Thank you for being here. And I should specify, like we've met each other a few years ago, but really did not spend that much time really talking to each other. However, I've been following you on social media, and to see you being so consistent every single week with your vitamin D that you'll share a bit, and who you are, as that Stan, as that person that is a stand for personal growth and mentorship and all. So it's really, really inspiring to see you, how you are in your life and how you want to be in contribution in other people's lives. So when I thought of you, I was like, I have to have Dom on the show. So thank you for being here and accepting to have that conversation. Yay. I'm just gonna say a few hello to the people that are watching. Hello, Pili, Chad, Driss. She says, hello, beautiful Jessica and Dom. Anthony, hello, Auntie Lynn. Julian Lewis says, nice. So welcome to all of you that are watching. If you're watching live, type live in the comments. If you're watching replay, type replay. Engage in the conversation. Let us know what you like about this conversation. And what we're going to talk about today is strong women, particularly being entrepreneurs in your family. So I want you to share about your life story, about where you grew up and your family environment.
Sure, I'd love to. So I grew up in a small town, Ithaca, New York, upstate New York. Many might know of Cornell University. It's where Cornell University is. So we have two big colleges, Cornell and Ithaca College. It encompasses, the town is 20,000 people. With the college students, there's 20,000 more. So it's, when the college students are there, it's a 50-50 ratio. The locals didn't really like it, still don't, but it's what brought, diversity and so much, eclectiveness to Ithaca. I mean, it really, because all the Cornell professors, kids would go to our schools, and there'd be people from New York City, living in the area or moving to our area. So there was literally 10 plus languages being spoke down the hallway every day.
Wow.
So back to the female entrepreneurs and all of that in my life. My grandmother owned a hair salon up in Cornell. So she had my mom when she was 16. So she got really quickly, she had to learn how to, fend for herself and really be able to provide and to, take care of her and my aunt. And then she started a hair salon, and it grew to 2 hair salons. And then she did some other things. And I really watched her as a person, how she ran these businesses, and really just intrigued me to not get into the employee mindset, because, as an employee, you only have so many options. It's guaranteed till it's not. And you can rely on your income until they take it away, or until COVID hits. And this is a whole different platform of reality that we're in right now. This is not the norm. This is different, right? So, but I watched her grow, and I watched her just really, take the bull by the horns, per se, and really just show me, what entrepreneurship was really about. And then my parents, they worked traditional jobs. My mom worked in the cafeteria at the high school. My dad was a construction worker. So I was I saw what hard work is. I saw what killing yourself and going to the grind, and really, the work ethic and all of that from that side. But then I saw the work ethic and the grind behind the entrepreneur side.
Yes.
And my uncle owned a convenience store sub shop that I worked in my whole life, or I should say, all through high school and parts of college. And again, just really saw that I wanted to build for myself. I wanted to have something that I could say was mine, that, I didn't have to ask someone, when I could go to the doctor, or go to my kid's school, or go to a game, or do whatever it was. And they really, that entrepreneurship of my grandma was really the beginning foundation of it, then my uncle. And it grew from there. And she was actually the first one, not the first one, the only one that taught me how to shake hands.
Wow.
She said, when you shake a person's hand, you give them a firm grip, don't break it, but give them a firm grip, and you look them in the eye and you say, it's nice to meet you.
Wow.
And, and I carried that through my life, that I've taught so many people. I shake their hand and they give me some weak handshake. It's like, no, look them in the eye,
right.
Whether it's my client, or whether it's my kids, or whether it's, whoever it is. If I don't get a firm handshake, or, the look in the eye, I'll wait till they look me in the eye and just,
I'm holding on until you look at
it's just the little things, but it makes all the difference in the world.
Totally.
You know someone's character right away from their handshake, from their energy, from as soon as you meet them, as soon as, so I just got, from that. My aunt, she ran another aunt, she ran her own business. My aunt and uncle, they ran the Shortstop Deli, the convenience store. So I saw my aunt working her butt off, and like my mom. So I was just surrounded by a bunch of women that were treated equal. They were treated just like the men. They weren't, no one had the upper hand. It was side by side. They just had really strong respect for, the husband and wife, the mother, father. It wasn't one or the other. So it's been, again, how I raise our children.
Love it. I'll get into those questions.
Yeah.
So hello, Alexis. She says, "Go Ithaca." Hi, Dom. Alexis Gilbert. I'm sure you know who
hello,
she is.
Alexis.
Hello, Cassie. Thanks for watching. Okay, so being in that environment, your grandmother being an entrepreneur, and oh my God, like 16 years old, such a young age, and we know the statistics are, many don't end up, in that entrepreneur hard work route. So really prompts to your grandmother for doing that. And so seeing all of that, your parents hardworking and your family and all that equalness in the roles of the women. And so how did that impact your life by being a husband with your children and also as an entrepreneur, right?
Yeah. So it just, again, it laid the foundation. It really gave me the roots and the really upbringing. I've been reflecting on this for the past probably year and a half, 2 years, a lot, where I just feel so blessed to be from where I'm from, born into the family I was born into, with the community and the foundation of who I am. And you could say that for everybody that had that, experience, that came from Ithaca, from that whole, everybody has a different, life, and a different, it goes so many other ways, but we all have that same foundation. So we all have that same core ethics of, truth, honesty, respect, hardworking, look out for your family, look out for your friends, all inclusive. We don't leave anybody out. Our house was like, my mom had our house as I'll call it a halfway house, but all were welcome. They go to bed, no one was there. They come back, wake up in the morning, and I'd have 6 people there because 2 people had nowhere to go, or like they got locked out of their house, whatever it was. It just was the foundation again of, everybody is human. Everybody is God's children. And we need to get back to, again, not seeing what is it in it for me all the time. Like, okay, how can I help? How can I serve? How can I, really open up my heart and my home, to you and to anybody? And that came from the women. That came from the strong women in our family. That, not that the men were close to it, but they weren't the ones opening up the doors and putting food on the table and really, just making sure everybody had something. Are you thirsty? Are you hungry? Are you, what do you need? That really has impacted me throughout my whole life.
Can you give me examples of how you took that foundation into your life as your like as a husband or with your
Yeah,
kids, those
for sure.
values that you brought?
So again, so I have a daughter, a 12-year-old daughter and a 13-year-old son. So to really have that foundation to come in and then have an amazing wife that had a very similar foundation of
Mm,
strong women. You know, she's one of four girls,
mm,
and you know, so her and three. So it's very strong. Mother, very strong. And to have that and then combine where I came from for my children, I tell them all the time, like, you guys have no idea what you have. You know, I mean, like, you're every home is different, but what you have with us is we're gonna, you know, especially my daughter, it's like you're gonna be strong. You're gonna learn to be independent. You're not gonna have to depend on anyone else. You're gonna have that backbone. You're gonna be, you know, and it's I believe some kids get the, you know, we call them strong spirited. You know, they're very spirited. They're, you know, some they knock that out of a kid at a young age, and that it's hard to balance when they're young because you don't want to reward it, but you also don't want to, you know, lock them in their room and ground them and do whatever just because they have that spirit. So we just have really always taught my daughter Gracie to, you know, be herself, you know, be different, be strong, be open, you know, communicate, talk, don't, you know, don't shy back because of you're a female ever, you know. So it's just been, you know, again, the foundation of it was laid really young, and to pass that along
right.
to my daughter and from my wife, like I said, one of four girls, they come very stocked with, you know, the girl gene. Yeah.
Love it. So one of the questions I asked you when we talked this week is, you know, when did you really become an entrepreneur? Like, you know, because you saw your parents, you saw your grandmother, and then you were telling me at a very young age. So you want to share that with
Yeah.
everybody?
So I'm trying to think back to when exactly. It was either sixth or seventh grade, and I got called into the principal's office for selling now and laters. So I buy a big pack and break it up and sell a pack of now and laters. I don't know what back then it was probably a nickel, maybe a quarter. I don't know. But just from there, I saw something where you do something and you get some money. I like the money. So it was just, and it wasn't hard work. It was just thinking different. It was like, okay, then I got into raking leaves and mowing lawns and shoveling sidewalks and painting. And then my uncle that had the convenience store, actually one of my very first jobs was bagging ice. So bagging ice, and he'd sell it, you know, for $1 or whatever, and he paid me 10 cents a bag. So as a 8, 9, 10-year-old, I had a job bagging ice, and he didn't have to buy it from somewhere. So he got everybody won. So get a $20 bill when you're 8, 9, 10 years old, whatever. I was, you know, I was balling.
Right.
You know. So just from there, it kept going, and it just kept evolving into whatever, you know, whatever somebody needed, if they could pay me for my efforts, rather than having to go get a job and wait for them to get me work and then show up and punch a clock and have people do this, do that. And they sit back and, you know, read the newspaper while you're, you know, busting your butt. Just didn't make sense to me. So, you know, then once I got to, from college, I graduated with a health and wellness degree, like I said. And what do you do with that? I have no idea. So I moved to Redondo Beach, California, where I am now 22 years later. And I decided I was going to be a personal trainer. I'm like, you know, people need this knowledge. I mean, it seems kind of weird someone would pay for that at that point. I didn't know, you know, I'm like, I thought everybody understood the biomechanics of how to do a squat, a lunge, a plank, whatever. It was like, no. So then it just grew. And then I just started growing legs from there and learning different disciplines of training, different disciplines of mindset, different disciplines of martial arts. You know, I was like, I had no idea what MMA was. I mean, I did to a degree. I knew what wrestling was. I knew what boxing was. I knew what karate, taekwondo, you know, kung fu, all that stuff.
Right.
But once they mixed it all together and brought it to MMA, and I with some of my trainers and watching them do what they were doing, like dismantling guns and knives, like training.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay, again, I don't know anything. I'm gonna stay a student. And then that's kind of right around when Reiki was introduced to me. I pulled a quad muscle, it wasn't going away. And I had one of my clients who was a Reiki master, just basically lay her hands on my leg. It's a Japanese healing art, transfer of energy through the universe from the minister's hands, do nothing but put her hands on my leg. And within 5 to 10 minutes, I got up and I could move my leg like no problem. And it was on its way to healing. And that she did it again the following week. And then that's when she attuned me and my wife to become Reiki administrators. And then I just started laying hands on people. I didn't try to understand it. I didn't try to figure it out. There's too many scientists out there. Don't try to figure everything out. Just go with what you feel. And if it worked for you and you know it's, you know, again, the first thing I did was look it up, make sure it wasn't it said the first thing is like, it's not a religion, it's not a cult, it just is. I'm like, I'm in. So once you know, again, that was the opening door of being open to, there's so much more out there. I'm from a little town, Ithaca, New York. I learned what they knew, what they taught me.
Right.
I went off to college. I only learned what I knew from that group. Now, when I came out here to California, it was like my eyes wide open of like, you know, there's so much more out there. Please stay open-minded and do not say, oh, I know that. If you can't explain it to somebody else, you don't know it. You've seen it or heard it or been through it. But if you can't explain in detail what that is, do not say you know it, whatever that is. Say, I've heard that.
Right. And I was going to say, like, California is so beautiful. It's like, of course, it helps with you starting to be open. I love it. And it was my next question, because I've heard you talk many times about being open, stay open. So I wanted you to talk about that, and you did. So thank you, because you know, I always talk about, you know, the horse when they have those little things, I don't know what they're called. Blinders. You know, it's so easy to live our life like that, to just, you know, not see anything. But when you take those blinders off, oh my God, doors open and you stay open and opportunities are coming, and it's just like, and then you can go with your intuition, with your gut. Okay, this is where I'm going. So I love that. Let me just say a few hellos to the people that are joining us. Joanie, hello, welcome. Tracy, Lynn says nice, true. Gaetan, my dad is watching. Hello. Salma, Kevin, Sean, Sylvie, welcome to all of you that are watching. If you're watching live, type live. I want to hear what you like about this conversation. Thank you all for being there. We're talking about strong women, family, in the family, and especially being entrepreneurs. Now we're heading into staying open as an entrepreneur. I want to ask you, because I know you talk a lot about mentorship, you talk a lot about personal growth. How is that all related to staying open?
Yeah. So again, it's one of those things, once your mind gets stretched, you can't bring it back to its original form. So not knowing and never even heard of personal development or personal growth, or, you know, who some of these icons like Jim Rohn and Les Brown and Tony Robbins. I've heard Tony Robbins' name, but I guess I kind of associated with more rah type stuff, which once I learned what it was, and staying open and not judging, you know, that's the most thing that I could also say too, is like, get rid of judgment. Like, don't judge. And we all have it, whether it's, you know, it's too bright in here, the shine on my head, or whatever. It's like, you know, it just, but if we get rid of that and then just stay open-minded to these thought leaders and to these personal development gurus that just get into it. So anybody listening out there, write down Les Brown. Start with Les Brown, Les Brown. He is 75 years old, and the man's been through the craziest life you've ever could imagine to come through it to the other side. So that's the part of personal growth that just blew me away, was like, you hear all these stories and where people started to where, you know, what they went through, and then got to the other side of, you know what, all of this thought process over here owned me. Don't let your brain own you. Own your brain. You know? So it just really evolved into Lisa Nichols is another amazing one. Lisa Nichols is you know, another one that just men or women, I don't care who you are, just Google Lisa Nichols and listen to her story or anything that she puts out. It's just amazing. There's so many, but I really dove in and just like became a student of personal development and personal growth. And what that does for you as a person, you can't take that back. And if you dive in and do a little bit every day, your life will completely change in 6 months to a year. But it's a residual effect. It's the compound effect. You know, it's just like working out, meditation, breath work, going for a walk, going for a run. Develop that new habit, but it's just small chunks. It's just the small pieces every day till you develop that habit. 2 to 5 minutes is what I teach people, that when I teach them about, you know, changing a new habit, usually it's meditation or breath work.
Yeah.
To start with, 2 to 5 minutes tops. Every day for 21 days to 30 days. Once you do that, you're going to want to do more. Don't, you know, because once you get to a point where it feels like work, then you stop. You're not going to do it. Then you start feeling like, okay, this isn't working for me. It's because you went too long. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so, I love that. 2 to 5 minutes. Come on. Who hasn't, 2 minutes? Lyndon is watching. Pili says, yes, Les Brown, he's my amazing mentor. Woo, that's so exciting. She says, amen, Dominic. Les Brown has made a profound impact in my life. I love him with all of me. I cannot disagree, because I've actually been able to meet him in person, and I listen to his videos. And one thing I was listening in the last few weeks, because I went through a trauma in September, and he was saying, when you're feeling, you're having a bad day, you're going through a tough time, just go out and go help somebody else, because you're gonna stop thinking about you. And that really hit me, and it's something that I've been like conditioning myself. Okay, I'm not feeling good today, so what can I do to have an impact on somebody else? And then I'm not thinking about it. So
absolutely.
Right,
it's the mind will take over. So the quicker you can take back control of your mind and have little tips and tricks to get you off, I was taught call that the dark road. When you start going down that dark road, first realize you're on that dark road and there's nothing good down there. Second is to have a tool to get you off that dark road. So for you, like you said, just go call someone or help someone out. How can I help you, or whatever it is? There's 2 things that I teach. One is go into gratitude. Start name 3 things that you're grateful for today or right now. This sunshine, this home that I'm in, my children are downstairs. Okay.
My clothes.
If that, keep going. Keep going. You can just keep listing. You can't stay in gratitude and feel, bad about yourself or a situation or what's going on.
Yeah.
Second is breathing. I tell people, now I look back while my mom would always say, take 10, take 10 deep breaths or count to 10. No, she said count to 10. Count to 10. Just count to 10. I'm like, but what does that do? Right. It really stops that reel of going down that dark road. Now you're like, okay, now you're back off something else. Something already popped up to where you can do it. But I tell people to take 2 deep breaths in, 2 of them. And then you can do that right in the middle of a conversation while you're talking to someone, while you're with your children, your parents, whoever. And 2, if 2 don't work, do 3, do 4, whatever. But you will just concentrate, go back to the most very basic thing, breath.
Woo.
Yeah.
And I just did the 2 and I'm like, wow, amazing. So do that. Try, the people that are watching today, try that. My call to action, do your 2 deep breath, or 3 or 4, and see how you're going to feel, and you be present. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Do you want, okay, let me ask you, what is the importance of having the conversation of women empowerment with men? Because my show, I usually have females on there, right? But I like to have at least one man every month, because to me, it's really important to have that conversation with men as well, because obviously we live with them, we have fathers, grandfathers. So obviously, you know, men is in our life. So I think it's super, super important to have that conversation. But I want to hear your opinion on this this question.
You know, it's again having a son and daughter. So it's teaching my son the importance of, you know, how to treat a woman, how to, you know, really go back to the basics and go back to the old school of, you know, just the respect of women needs to be brought back. And I think there has been a major shift. I know there has been. I mean, we have a vice president now that's a female. You know, that's, you know, and last, you know, election, like her or not, there was one that was up for presidency. That is such an amazing, amazing feat. And for my daughter to see that is, I mean, again, they don't understand to a degree what the women have gone through to get to this point. And to have my son, like I said, to teach him like all of the things that he needs to do, you know, it's different when you have a sister. Like you think you can wrestle and to, you know, what, punch or hit or whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? Just as a brother sister,
right?
I'm like, tell you can't do that, you know, just because your sister doesn't make it okay. No women, not especially your sister, but to have that conversation, yes, it's always, I have the conversation with clients or friends or people, whoever, the difficult ones. Now, I mean, I would say difficult conversations, but if something comes up, it's like, no, you can't say that. You can't think like that. But that doesn't really happen in my space because they know my stance. They know where I'm at. They know who I am. And the ones that are around me are, you know, we all have the same general beliefs and respects and, you know, moral standards. And I think that's where it comes back to, the moral standards of people across the board. If you have moral standards, men and women are the same. There's no, you know, black and white is the same. Asian and, you know, whatever nationality are the same. It's just having that, I think that conversation more than any is huge, that we're all people, again, back, we're all children of God. We're not, you know, no one's more special than the next. We're all here for a reason. We all have a purpose, you know, and that is more of the conversations that I have.
I love it. I love it. Thank you. Let me read a few. Lyndon, sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name right, but Dom is an amazing person. That is so true. And then Pili says, this is my dream to meet this man. So we're talking about Les Brown. Thank you so much, Dominic. You are amazing. And so my sister from another Mr. Jessica, thank you so much. You're so sweet. Mr. Nelson, she says, beat them kids. Love my Gracie and Dom. Oh, thank you for watching, Mr. Nelson. I sure miss you guys. Oh my God, I feel it's been so long. So how can I had enough, sorry, I'm going back to the beginning of the conversation because I had a question and I don't want to forget it. So we talked about the foundation, right, of your family. So if somebody that's watching and saying, I didn't have that foundation, I didn't have that family, that entrepreneur grandmother, or I didn't have those hardworking parents, what would you tell them to build that foundation or to empower them right now?
Yeah, so don't buy into that, you know, to that lie that you can't do something. Don't buy into that lie that because I was brought up this way, I have to be that way. Don't buy into the lie that, you know, this is just what I have. These are the cards that I was dealt. Go back to what, you know, one of the main things I did when I grew up, and I don't know how I learned this or where I learned it, but I learned through other people's mistakes. So you're either going to learn one of two ways, either through your mistakes or someone else's.
Right.
Much easier and better to learn through somebody else's mistakes and don't make those mistakes. So I would see and hear different things, different aspects in my life, whether it was my mom, my dad, my sister, my, the friends that would come over, or my mom's friends that would come over, and really be in tune with, I was a quarterback too. So I see and hear everything, whether I acknowledge it or not, or whatever, or pay attention, you think, but I know what's going on. So I would hear, and I have a very specific memory of my mom's friend would come over, and she was really adamant always, but about something that was really bothering her. And I was in another room and I heard it, and I'm like, oh man, I'm really feeling it. She came back the next day. My mom would have coffee. She did daycare back in the day. So they'd have coffee and I'd hear her, and I'm like, oh no, I wonder if she's still going through that or what's going on. And I'd listen in, and it's something else. She never brought up whatever happened for her. The next day or 2 days later, it was something else. I'm like, oh wow, it's always something. If you let the little things bother you, there's always going to be something bothering you. And it's always something new. You never even go back. You have no idea what you're worried about, stressed about 2 months ago, 2 weeks ago. But if you let that bother you, so don't buy into that whole story that you've been telling yourself. If that's you on here listening, if you came from a broken home, let that fuel you more than anything. Take that fuel and run with it, because anybody on here can do whatever you want. It's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of time. Back to the mentors and the people to follow and the people in your life. I learned long ago, sometimes you have to get rid of the good to get the great of everything in life, whether that's a job, whether that's a relationship, whether that's a so-called friend. You have to really evaluate what you want in your life, find someone who's doing that, or where they're at. If they have things that you want, find out what they did to get there, and then listen to their mentors and find out who they learned from to get where they're at. So that's another huge question to ask somebody.
Yes.
And anything that they give you of significance, that if it's something you want, ask them where they got their information. Where did they learn from? And if they can't tell you, don't follow that person. If they can tell you, I'm just saying, it's being real. Too many people follow people that they have no idea why or where they got their information from, than to find out they're a fraud, or that they don't even live that life. They live the Instagram life, or they live the Facebook life that is made up. It's just all for money or for, So again, Mr. Nelson, who you spoke on there, he came into my life 5.5 years ago into my gym for me to train him. I had no idea who he was. We connected as individuals, as our spirits, and we aligned so fast. It took me 6 months before I even knew who he was or what he did. I just knew, So then, again, these people, I stay open. When you're open, the universe will give you everything that you've ever needed or wanted. You just have to be open, and you just have to you got to be aware of your surroundings. I think too many people are, like this their whole life, or even just walking, look around, man. Yeah. Back to your blinders. They got their blinders on, and they're like, poor me. My life is this and that, and I wish I could have. No, take a stance right now in your life. 2020, finish it out however you want. Don't go with, turn the TV off, turn the media off, turn all that off. Find mentors, find coaches, turn on Les Brown, just dive into personal development and dive into anything to do with bettering your mental health, your physical health, your spiritual health, and, don't go down the poor me path.
Woo! I think it's like the mic drop. Woo! Love it. Hello, Vanessa and Kent. Peely says you guys are amazing. Love this. I'm gonna read the 2 quotes that I picked for today's conversation. We're gonna wrap things up, and then I'll let you finish with whatever you want to share. I think what you just shared was super powerful, but I know you have some more. So I chose, be proud of how you've been handling these past months, the silent battles you fought, the moments you had to humble yourself, wipe your own tears, put yourself back on track, and then celebrate your strength. And it's a quote that I found, but it just, I think, you know, with everything that's been happening this year, I know a lot of people have been fighting battles, and it's all relate back to what you were saying, pick yourself up. Like there's less than 2 months left of 2020, but tons of time to align yourself. Hello to your son. Love it.
There's one of them. These are the home offices.
It's perfect. I love it like that. And then the second quote is, I am a strong woman because a strong woman raised me. Woo! I wanted to do a shout out to my mom and my stepmom, because they both played a very, very big role in the woman that I am today. And I know you're not a woman, but I know these women in your lives played a huge role, and they're still playing a role in your life. So
absolutely.
Let me hear the last few words, sentences, however you want to take long, just to wrap this call and just to do a recap. What we talked about strong women. We talked about strong women in our families, being entrepreneurs, how it had an impact in your life as who you are today, as a husband, as a father, as an entrepreneur, and then the importance of having mentorship, being open, and pick yourself up. I think that's pretty much
Yeah. Yeah. I would just I would just conclude with, you know, just back to what you just said, what I said. Stay open. Don't be that one who, you know, really just closes their mind and really doesn't open themselves up to more in life, and know that there's so much more out there. And, you know, drink more water, stretch more, read more books, smile more, you know, listen to more audios on positive things and more uplifting things than listening to the news and the media and all the chaos that is going on. That's still going to be there. You know, how you going to, you know, what are you doing to better yourself and to better your life is really what it comes down to.
Love it. Love it. And I'm going to add, my heart is very filled with gratitude for you, for everybody that was watching, Mr. Nelson. You know, it's those type of people that go through your life. You don't know how long they're going to be in your life, but they have such a huge impact. And I really want to acknowledge who you are. And as well, how can people reach you if they just saw you today for the first time? Where can they follow you? Because you're one of those positive, impactful persons. So
yeah, thank you. Amici on on Facebook, and then Amici on Instagram. So those are my two platforms that I put stuff out. Like you said, the vitamin D, the daily dose of Dom. So again, I started that right at the beginning of COVID. It was something that I always knew that I wanted to do, was to put more content out there to really, you know, put a spin on just my messages or pictures that I was put on, or inspirational quotes or whatever, to really get my voice and my insight and wisdom that I really have acquired. You know, I always said that I've learned all of this knowledge, and I have so much wisdom from the people that have come through my gym and into my life, and then to learn from their mentors and their coaches, and read the books that they read, and the, you know, the podcasts, and, you know, all the stuff, all of this wisdom. It wasn't for me to keep and to take the grave to, which so many people I think do. It was to spread the wisdom, to spread the wealth of knowledge that I do possess, that it's not for me to keep. I feel like that's a sin. I really do.
Wow.
So, and then with my Reiki and my healing, and with my personal training and my wealth of knowledge in the health space, to spread that, to spread more of, you know, to put my hands on more people, to really touch them and heal them. And then now is more into the mind. You know, I've gotten so much into the mind the last couple of years with different Dr. Joe Dispenza. There's Jim Quick, you know, the Limitless, you know, how to learn faster, how to learn more, how to, you know, so there's just how to tap into your brain and really use that crazy computer that we have, but also share it, not just to collect and gather. Like I see so many people, these multi-billionaires and trillionaires that have gotten out, it just seems like they're just gathering.
Right.
Like, I don't want to be the gatherer. I want to be the one to gather and then share, and then gather more and share, because it's that ripple effect and what you went back to, everybody helping each other. We need to get back to that.
Exactly. And you're doing it. So keep doing what you're doing. Alexis says, wish you could personally train in Houston. Nice talk. Glad I checked in. Thank you for being there and watching. Yeah, I wish I would be in Redondo Beach right now. That's for sure. Thank you again so much for being here. I'm going to be back next Wednesday with another special guest. Dom will also add in the comments his Instagram and Facebook, so you guys can go follow all the great content that he provides every single week. Thank you again for everybody that was watching. Hold on, there's another. For a father and entrepreneur, Kirsty saying, for a father and entrepreneur, brother of 5 sisters, it's possible to be an example for our children, girls, wife. Thank you, Dom, for your sharing, and special thanks to Jessica for your kind words. Thank you so much. Much love to everybody. And thank you, Dom, again. Have an awesome rest of the day. It's Sunshine, California.
Yes. Sorry for the glare.
I love it. Send it our way. So I will see you all, everybody, next Wednesday. Have an awesome day. Take care.
If you have enjoyed today's episode, please share with the people that you love and care about. Jessica DSB.